Hello, my name is Joan Rudder-Ward. I am the host and producer of Silver Sage, a program featuring people 50 and over who are living their lives to the fullest. Our goal is to encourage you to live your life and not your age. Think about it. How old would you be if you didn't know how old you were? Today we're visiting with Dr. Leita Harris, who has been practicing medicine since 1990. Dr. Harris just fulfilled her dream of opening her own medical practice, which is in Corona, California, and it's called Nurturing You. In today's segment, we discuss stress, the symptoms of stress, and she gives practical things that you can do to reduce the stress in your everyday life. So, my guest today is Dr. Leita Harris, and Dr. Harris is a graduate of Cornell Medical College. She has been practicing medicine since 1990. She is board certified, OB/GYN. She is also assistant clinical professor at University of California School of Medicine. That's the university, the campus in Riverside.
Yes.
So,
Right.
Thank you for being with
Absolutely.
us today, Dr.
My
Harris.
Pleasure. My pleasure.
And Dr. Harris, you also have your own private practice,
Yes.
which is known as Nurturing You.
Yes.
Can you tell us why is it called Nurturing You? And
Well, first of all, I just want to thank you for inviting me. I've known you for a long time, Ms.
Yes.
Jones, so I really appreciate you choosing me to come and join you today. The full title is Nurturing You, Women's Health and Wellness. And many years ago, when I was leaving my practice where I was in a multi-specialty group and seeking to do something else with my life because of family situations with ministry and with children growing, I wanted to do something more along the lines of looking at more natural ways of taking care of ourselves. I went into a small business where I was doing some natural skincare products, hair care products, things that were just biologically healthy, for the woman. And I really was looking at medicine from a different standpoint. I was saying, wow, here we are dealing with a lot of fixing things that are already broken, as opposed to looking at how can we prevent it from becoming broken. And so I said, people need to look at their whole being. We are triune, body, mind, and spirit. And as it pertains to taking care of ourselves, we have to take care of every aspect of our being. So I said, women, of course, as a gynecologist, that's my patient base. I know men have to do it too, but I'm partial to women. I take care of women. So I just said, we really need to pay attention to taking care of what we put on our bodies, what we do for our bodies, what we avoid putting into our bodies, looking at the whole emotional and mental aspects of it as well. And that means just looking at you and saying, I'm going to take care of me. I'm going to put me on my list of things to do, because as I used to say when I went around, women tend to neglect themselves. We put ourselves somewhere on the bottom of the list of things to do because we're naturally nurturers. We nurture others. We nurture our children, we nurture our husbands, we take care of many things, and of course a lot of us wear many hats. So we take care of everything and everybody, and we may get to ourselves. And what people don't understand is that we wind up depleting ourselves. We put so much out, so much out, so much out, and I was doing it myself. So I had my own self as my own personal testimony. And then what happens is that there's not much left of you. You really think you're doing well by overdoing it for everyone and everything, but when you deplete yourself, then there's really not much of you really left. And so what ends up happening is you wind up doing less than you really should in all these ways. So it was a wake-up call for me, and that's when I decided actually to leave my 15 years of practicing as an obstetrician and a gynecologist, and saying, you know, I want to take care of me better. I want to give more time to my family. So that meant that I needed to eliminate, you know, one of the other big things that women don't tend to do very well is say no.
Yes.
Know how to say no. And so I had to learn to say no. And you know, so it was a very life-changing time for me, leaving the obstetrics part of my practice. And at that time, I decided to, again, do the natural products. I started teaching at UCR, which was the biomed program at that time, which has now grown into a medical school. So I started teaching, and like I said, during that time, I was just saying, you know, I gotta really focus on me. I gotta teach women about taking care of their whole being, and that's where that Nurturing You came from. And I loved that title. And here it is now, you know, after going back to practice as just a gynecologist and doing that for the last 7.5 years, that I said, you know, it's time for me now, after 25 years of practice, to have my own practice, do me, you know. And I loved that title, and I said, you know something, I'm still nurturing you. So I grabbed it and I said, Nurturing You, Women's Health and Wellness. So we just started, and I'm happy.
Well, tell us, what are some signs that a woman is depleting herself, or that she's overworked, or that she needs to cut some things back? Can you tell us some things that you see?
Right. Well, you know, I really believe that stress can affect everything from the top of your head to the soles of your feet. I mean, if you look at your body as a whole, and when women are overstressed and overdoing it, you know, think of things, like I said, top of the head. I mean, headaches, hair loss, you know, work your way down. You know, people have chest pains, all types of stomach ailments, back pain. So a lot of it manifests itself as pain. Different type, you know, with short of breath. I mean, I even went through a time in my life where I was so stressed that I literally thought I had asthma. I mean, I was having like bronchospasm where I had to use an inhaler temporarily, and it was because of stress. You know, even your immune system weakens, so you're more prone to getting certain types of infections. You may tend to get sick easier when you're more stressed out. So I think if someone's looking at themselves, and they feel that, you know, it's a sense of being overwhelmed. You know, it's one thing to be someone who has like good stress. I mean, because I think that there's good stress. I mean, some people function on a high level of intensity. That's what they need to thrive, and that's good. But when you're to the point where, you know, you have problems sleeping, or problems eating, or your hair is falling out, or you know, things like that, your headaches all the time, stomach problems, when it manifests itself externally like that, then you really have to say, okay, am I overdoing it? Am I putting too much on myself, too much on my plate, and not being able to manage it all?
Okay. So what do most of the people that you do see along those lines, as far as, what am I trying to say? Okay, when someone comes in,
yes,
are they mainly coming in for a gynecological problem? I mean, issue, not a problem.
Right.
But are they, and do you talk to them about other things that, you know, find out if they're how they're taking care of themselves and things like that?
Right. Well, right now, Nurturing You, Women's Health and Wellness is a gynecology practice. I only do basic general gynecology, office gynecology, but I've also, over the last 7 years or so, specialized in hormones. So more natural versions of hormones and herbal remedies and things like that to help women going through transition, going through, you know, whether they're premenopausal or postmenopausal. So that's what I've chosen to do because there's a lot of women that are dealing with menopause and everything that goes along with that. And and I can get more into the issue of why women stop using hormones and why it's good now for them to use hormones and what are some of the options. But part of the whole equation is that, yes, you do have to look at the big picture. You know, if you're overdoing it and you're very stressed, then that's going to affect, you know, cortisol levels, which is going to affect your hormone levels, okay? If you're doing too much and you're not eating well, it's almost like you're sabotaging what we're trying to do for you. If you're not exercising or having a fairly healthy, physically active lifestyle, again, you can sabotage what we're trying to do. So it's the big picture. I can't give you a prescription and say, hey, you know, take these hormones and, you know, everything is just going to be wonderful. It doesn't work that way. It's a big picture. So I'm big on supplements as well. I think a lot of times people, especially if they don't have a very healthy diet, may not be getting all the nutrients that they need. So that's part of the equation as well. So we look at what medications they may be on. We factor that in. We look at, are they on supplements? We look at their lifestyle as well. So everything has to be considered as part of the package. And yes, you know, a lot of times we recommend doing things for themselves to help to reduce stress as well. So yeah, it's part of the package.
Okay. And okay, do you see any particular issues with women that are 50 and over? Okay, we know there's the menopause thing.
Right.
Is there other things that you see that they're dealing with? Okay, you've talked about the stress.
Right.
And okay, does stress? Okay, if it's just stress and menopause is all we're doing, does it show up differently as women get older, or like I say, even if there's other specifics for women that are, you know, 50 and over?
50. Well, I think that overall the health can change, definitely, you know, after you get, and a lot of times it's because of the way the hormones are changing, because hormones affect a lot of different things. So because there's hormone changes, it can affect even, you know, your cholesterol level.
Really?
Women, because of the fact that their estrogen level starts to go down, that's why women heart problems start to go up after 50. So that's why that happens, is because of the estrogens, as well as other things. It's not only that, but you definitely do see an increase that happens postmenopausally. And a lot of it is because of the depletion or the lack of like estrogen particularly. So, so yeah, heart problems can go in. And of course, you gotta consider your bones. You know, so as we age, our bones start to thin. So we have to consider those. You know, are you on vitamin D? And vitamin D, I really want to, you know, say something, because like I said, I'm big about supplements. Vitamin D really is almost not a vitamin. It's more like a prohormone that can affect a lot of different parts of your body. I mean, your brain, your immune system. It's not just for bone health. It even has, you know, cancer protective properties as well. So there's a lot of things that vitamin D does, and so many people are vitamin D deficient. It's amazing.
Really?
I can't believe how many people are vitamin D. I check it. I always check that as part of my panel. I check for thyroid problems as well, because that can also affect, you know, play into the equation. But back to the vitamin D, I've put people on vitamin D at levels to help them get into a normal range.
Really?
And they right away tell me, like, within 2 weeks, all of a sudden they feel more energetic and you're doing great. They're feeling a lot better. So yes, there's supplements, there's deficiency in calcium, vitamin D, like I said, the heart problems. But then there's also, you know, like emotional, mental things that kind of start to happen. You know, that's the time where many women are, their family structure is changing, family dynamics are changing. They may be having kids that are now college age and going away to college, and the quote-unquote empty nest. And to be honest with you, I think I love the emptiness. For me personally, I'm fine with the emptiness. I still have my husband. It's a time for me, to me, I should say, that now it's time for you to rekindle with your husband, your spouse. Okay, the kids are gone. Now you can have some freedom and have a good time. You don't have to worry about the little ifs, ands, and buts about certain things. So. But then there's other times where, the women's parents might be aging, or their husband's parents may be aging, and there's times that they might have to be caretakers all over again.
Right.
Not so much with the spectrum of their children, but now their parents even. So family dynamics can change. Sometimes parents move into the house. That has happened, and all of a sudden now you have to take care of maybe a parent that's sick. And so all of those things have to be taken into account. So again, we have to take care of ourselves.
Right.
We have to be able to make sure that we are optimizing how well we're able to cope and handle our external stressors, life stressors. Things happen in life. Life has things, and things happen, and I'm a spiritual woman, of course, so I absolutely believe in, prayer and having a relationship with the Lord and using that as your backbone and as your support and as your, but you do have to be mindful of other things too, so that you can handle these changes that happen. Sometimes women get depressed, menopause can even sometimes bring on more depression, anxiety, so because of hormone changes, so all of a sudden now we're dealing with more depression or more anxiety that comes, after 50 because of menopausal changes, as well as life changes and things like that.
So,
it's
a lot of life changes.
Yes.
Good things, but then there's a lot of things to deal with. Okay, well, we're going to take a break right now. And we'll be right back, and we'll find out some more about how you can be nurturing yourself.
So they say it's a man's world? Well, I don't see anybody's name on it. While they were out doing their thing, we slowly changed all that. We changed all that. Today, women can do anything men can do. And there's one thing we're even better at.
We are talking today with Dr. Leita Harris, and we've been talking about changes that happen with women of 50 and over. And one thing is really being able to address the issue of stress. So, Dr. Harris, tell us. Now, it's easy to tell someone, okay, well, don't stress.
Absolutely, right.
Okay, so, but what are some practical things that people can do to relieve that stress, or reduce the stress that they have?
Okay, I mean, first of all, the first thing is even recognizing that you are overdoing it. So that's the first step, because if you don't even realize that you're overdoing it, and we talked about some of the things that can happen with your body and with your emotions and with your mind if you're overstressed. So if you don't recognize it, then you're going to continue, and you're just going to keep doing what you're doing, and it's just going to get worse. So the first thing is recognizing it. Now what can be done is a lot of different things. Of course, we know that exercise is a great stress reliever. And you don't have to have a gym membership to exercise. I mean, people have to realize that there's things that they can do in the home. You don't have to go outside. I mean, even just physical activity, something that's keeping your mind busy. You know, gardening is okay. You know, just doing physical things. You know, reading a book, not something necessarily like you're studying. I mean, just something, and I call myself having what I call airhead time sometimes, where I just pick up a magazine. That's not necessarily going to help my intellect or anything like that, but just something to just read, you know. So I'll sit down and just read and just take my mind off of things altogether. Exercise and physical activity is great because you know that it releases the endorphins in your brains, which is what kind of gives that happy, you know, relieved feeling. So, you know, going for a walk, you don't have to go on a power walk, but even just going for a walk, appreciating nature, appreciating what's out there, seeing what's around you. People sometimes don't even realize, you know, see the greenery, see the things that's out there in nature, you know, what God's created. That helps to kind of calm the senses, you know, just having quiet time, having just some peace, you know, for a moment. I mean, it's okay to be quiet. Sometimes people don't want to be quiet. Just having some down quiet time, meditation, you know, not ruminating over things and looking and stressing over and thinking too much about what's yesterday and, you know, thinking too much about what's tomorrow, but just having a moment of just being present with where you are, just experiencing where you are. You can even sit down and do deep breathing when you're sitting. You know, do a deep breathing. Pay attention to your breathing. Do some stretches, you know, with your head and your shoulders and your neck and your arms and bending over, like doing just stretches. Stretches helps with your flexibility, and it also helps with just relaxing you as well. I think one of the other things that I share with people is don't give in to cravings. Sometimes when people are stressed, they do what they call stress eating or emotional eating. We may have cravings, but the key is don't give in to the craving, you know, and yeah, it takes willpower to do that if you recognize, you know, because everything that you're going after when you're more stressed, you know, especially the sugars and the salts and the fatty things are all going to do worse. It's going to make you sluggish, it's going to run you down, make you feel worse. So drinking a lot of water, doing, you know, fiber and protein, things that's going to kind of lift you and keep you in that state. So like I said, I think the diet, the exercise, and just physically being attentive to your body, those are all real key things to helping. You know, there's a lot of others, but I think those are real key.
Okay, that's really good. Now you're talking about cravings.
Yes.
You know, so generally, like when people are craving, then they're craving things. They're not craving carrots and spinach.
No, I mean some people probably do, but it's, you know, it's the chocolate, it's the salty stuff, the pretzels and other salty things, you know, potato chips and things like that, and it, you know, that kind of thing, it throws things off. It throws things off, and again, it, you know, salt. You drink water, you have salty. You're going to swell. You're going to bloat. It's going to cause a problem. You know, the sugars causes your insulin and everything to just kind of go up, and then you bottom out. So it's not good either. And one other thing is just rest. I think that, you know, you need to be able to rest. And I do realize that sometimes stress causes problems with insomnia. There are natural herbal things that can be taken to help with insomnia. You know, of course, with medical permission, of course, if anyone has any type of medical conditions, but melatonin has been found. Valerian root is another one that's been found to help people to sleep better. And then speaking of hormones, progesterone, natural progesterone, not synthetic progestins, natural progesterone also can kind of help women to sleep and rest better, especially in a capsule form, because it does interact with the receptors in the brain that help you to sleep. But even a topical progesterone cream can also help as well. Progesterone is like that mood stabilizing hormone that we have, so that kind of helps to calm things down as well. One of the other things that I would share is to be okay if you don't complete every single thing on your list of things to do. You know, I consider myself to be a very organized person, and that's also key as well. Keep yourself organized and try to be more organized, because if you're not organized and things are like, you know, just that causes more stress too. So, but in your organization, be okay with, okay, I didn't get everything done.
Mhm.
Okay, push it over to the next day. You know, don't get all overwhelmed like, okay, I didn't get everything done on my list
Right,
of things
yeah.
to do. You know, with women that are taking care of things at home, okay, it's messy.
Mhm.
It's okay. It's not gonna, you know, tear you down or whatever. So just give yourself room to not be perfect in
Yeah.
everything,
Yeah.
you know, so that you can help to reduce that as well,
Right.
so.
Don't be perfect and don't be superwoman.
Right, right, I know, I've been accused of superwoman thing too, so, but.
Yeah, well, I understand
Right.
that. I've been there myself. Yeah.
Right, so, and that's part of, a lot of women, I should say womanhood, but I mean, a lot of women, I mean, being, you know, that superwoman thing, but it's unfortunate that it's wore a lot of people out.
Yeah.
It's wore a lot
Right.
of people out, so.
Right. Dr. Harris, we
Yes.
thank you so much for visiting us
Absolutely.
today.
Thank
We're
you.
looking forward to having you back again.
Okay.
And thank you for joining us today. We will have Dr. Harris back. If you want any further information on her and her practice, you can find it on our website at silversage.com.